it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Papermaze. And this month I've been working with the Here and There collection from Simple Stories, and it's a lovely travel themed collection, but it's full of lovely earthy colours. And I don't do a lot of travelling. I haven't done since my little boy was born sort of 6-7 years ago, so I bought it with the intention of using it for non-travel related photos, and I was a bit dubious about how easy that would be, but actually I've really enjoyed working with it. And it comes with a pack of floral die cuts, so you can make those work for anything, can't you? So definitely glad I went for this one. So I've got a photo here of my little boy. It's taken on the Isle of Wight. We were at the Isle of Wight Steam Railway, and it's one of his favourite days out whilst we're over there. And it's just a photo of him coming out of the first class carriage. And I loved the colours in this photo and thought that they would work really well with this collection. And it's actually this photo that made me go for this collection because I thought the colours were perfect. So I've selected a few of the patterned papers and I've cut some strips from them, and then I'm just cutting fishtails into the ends to create banners that are going to go along the page. And I'm doing these in varying shapes and sizes and widths. I'm going to have them kind of layered on top of each other. And that's kind of as far as I've got with the planning. Sorry, my printer's just come to life in the background there. I didn't really have much of a plan past having these banners on the page. So you'll see that I fiddle a little bit here, try and play with what I've got. I'm looking here for that train die cut in the bits and pieces pack. Again, this was between this photo and this die cut, it was this that made me go for this collection. So I knew I wanted to use this train on the page. I wasn't too sure where to pop it, so I do move it around a little bit, and you'll see in a moment, but it does end up staying at the bottom of my photo there, kind of like it's whizzing out of the photo at speed. So I've just gone through the bits and pieces pack. I've pulled out a few bits that I think I might use. I don't actually end up using any of those bits, I think, just that train. But there's lots and lots of bits in there. So if you are using this collection for travel related, there is so much in here you can use. Just for me personally, I'm trying to make a kind of non-travel related layout. So trying not to pick things that are too heavy on the travel theme. Love the tags patterned paper. These are one of my favourite papers in the Simple Stories collections. So I've selected a couple of tags that I'm going to have behind my photo. Just adds a bit of colour there, and it's a bit different other than adding sort of layers of patterned papers or coloured cardstock behind a photo to mat it. I love adding tags. It's just a bit more interesting, and I'm going to pop a metal eyelet through both of those, so it brings in a bit more texture to the page as well. As always, I love to distress my edges. I either use an edge distressing tool, or as you saw me using here, just the blade of a pair of scissors works just as well. I do find sometimes I can be a bit heavy-handed with the scissors and I end up ripping the paper. If it's smaller bits, I tend to go for the scissors to make it easier. If it's larger bits, I will often reach for my distressing tool, just because it means I'm less likely to rip things. I've had a play with those strips of paper that I've cut. That floral one, I was a bit worried it was getting lost, so I turned it over to see if the mustard colour would work better, but opted for the florals in the end. In reality, it doesn't really matter because most of that is going to get covered up anyway. Half of it is already covered by that train, and I'm going to cover the other half pretty much with some florals in a minute. So in hindsight, it didn't really matter. But it's brilliant when you've got double-sided papers and you can kind of use either. You can cut out the shape that you want and then see which side works better. But I've used my crocodile there to punch some eyelets through those tags. Just don't like leaving tags bare. I'll either opt for an eyelet or some thread wrapped around, or often both, just to kind of finish them off so they don't look too unfinished. I also adored this Here and There sticker. It's like a little luggage tag with some florals, and I adored this and really wanted to get this on a page. There's one on the cardstock sticker sheet, which is where this one's from, and there's also another one on the 4x6 elements that's obviously a lot larger. So I wanted to get one of those on, and I opted for the smaller one here. You have to excuse me, I made this layout the weekend of National Scrapbooking Day, and it was a really sunny day and the lighting kept changing in my room, so you'll notice I've just had to put all my lights on because the sun had gone in and it got really dark. One of those days where the weather just couldn't decide what it wanted to do. But I've got that luggage tag. I've popped that onto some white cardstock so that it's not sticky anymore and I can move it around if I want to. I'm not entirely sure where it's going to sit. So adding them to cardstock just makes them a lot easier and I can move it around. Now I'm coming in with the floral bits and pieces. There are loads in this pack and I love them. They're gorgeous and they've all got a white border around the edge, which you could either use, or if you didn't want the white border, you could always trim that off. But I'm just going to add some florals going diagonally through my photo there, the opposite direction to my tags and my train die cut. So it just kind of completes that line through the photo. And then just another couple of stickers here I've decided I want to use, and again adding those to cardstock. Like you can see here, I've moved it around a couple of times not knowing where I want it to sit, so by adding the cardstock behind it just means I can move it. So as you can see, the layout's coming together nicely now. Considering my only plan was to have those banners along the base of my layout, it's coming together nicely. I like how it's looking and I like that things are tightly clustered around my photo. So now I'm going to take some time because, as always, I've built an entire layout and nothing is stuck down. So now I've got to work my way around sticking everything down, and I love the placement of things at the moment, so I'm going to try and pull things off individually and get them stuck, as opposed to pulling it all off and starting with the biggest piece at the bottom. So I'm just going to work my way around with some foam pads and get those things stuck in place. So I've just skipped through the rest of that for you. It's a bit boring watching me stick everything down. And I'm now just looking through my alpha stash for some nice alphabet stickers. I wanted something in a mustard colour to match the tones in the collection, and so that it would stand out on that dark banner. And I've gone for First Class Day because, as I mentioned at the beginning, my little boy stood in the carriage. It's a first class carriage, and so I wanted to get first class in there, so I thought First Class Day was a really nice title, and I've used some small alphas so that they can fit just nice and tightly on that banner there, just to complete that. And I'm almost done. I was planning on calling it done at this point, but I felt like I wanted something around the edge of the page, and I wasn't sure if I wanted a whole frame or something top and bottom. So I pulled out this stripy paper because I have used it for one of those banners across the centre, and thought it would be nice for sort of continuity to use that same paper and bring a bit more of it in. And it's got lots of colours repeated from the layout as well. And I've decided I'm going to add a section to the top and the bottom, not going all the way along. Sometimes when I feel like a page just needs something, this is what I opt to do. Sometimes a frame going all the way around is just a bit too much, or it ruins the kind of elegant effect of a layout depending on sort of the design I've gone for on the photo. So sometimes I like to just do this. And with a large pair of scissors, I've just cut kind of not even a semicircle, like a weird shape out, kind of coming in deeper into the middle, and then I've distressed that with some scissors or distressing tool, folded the edge of the white cardstock back, and then I've backed that area, sorry my little boy's coughing in the background there, I've backed that area with the pattern paper, and then just trimmed it down to fit, and I love how that looks. It just kind of finishes the page off nicely. And that is me done for today. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this layout and it's given you some inspiration. I suppose this is a kind of travel-y theme in that I'm using a mode of transport to scrap today. I've got my train photo, but my previous layout that you would have seen if you follow me on Instagram or follow Papermaze is completely non-travel related. So even if you don't travel a lot, this collection is definitely versatile enough that you could use it, and especially with that floral bits and pieces pack, you can use those on anything, can't you? So I hope it's given you some inspiration. But thank you for joining me. I'll leave you with the last few close-ups and I'll see you next time.